Imagine being a Christian in Europe, knowing that your faith was under attack, but all you can do is pray and wait. You pray, as you know, out there, cities are falling one by one. You wait, knowing that the Muslim takeover is on its way. They're stronger, they're expanding, and they seem absolutely unstoppable. It's only a matter of time before they are on your doorstep. You ask yourself, is Christianity in Europe over? It's going to take a miracle to survive this fight. Hard to imagine? Well, this is exactly what happened in 1571. The Catholic Church in Europe had been hit hard by the Protestant Reformation on one side and the Ottoman Empire on the other. And the Ottoman Empire was now far too close to Italy for comfort. Yeah, look at that map. That's close. News reached Pope Pius V that the Ottoman Empire had just taken Cyprus. This was a highly strategic point in the Mediterranean, and it's estimated over 75,000 Christians were either killed or enslaved. The brutality of the Ottoman Empire was well known, and the Ottoman Navy, a significant power, or, well, the significant power of the world, had turned their ships westward, toward the heart of Christian Europe. This was a time period where Rome had just started to recover from the brutal sacking by imperial mercenaries, many of them Lutheran, just 44 years ago, leaving the city in utter ruins and much of its population dead. For more on that, check out this video. They were just starting to recover from this fall, and now, well, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to live in Rome during this period. The people must have been, well, they must have been terrified. But the Pope was not going to just stand around and let this happen. He called on his allies, some of which didn't get along too well. And when I say that, what I really mean is that some of them were flat out rivals. He encouraged and motivated them to take up the flag to defend the faith. The Holy League was born from this desperation. These nations, often at odds with each other, put their differences aside and set their focus on the real threat, the Ottoman Navy. The Holy League was on their way to defend Europe. All that was left for everyone else to do was to wait and pray. And now I'm going to make you wait for the rest of the story while I remind you to like and share this video, leave a comment behind, and don't forget to subscribe. You can also support my channel by visiting journeytosainthood.com, where you can find this Be Saintly shirt that I wore in this video and the rest of the Rosary series. Comes in all kinds of different colors. Okay, I'm done. That didn't take too long, did it? On October 7th, 1571, Pope Pius V turned urgently to prayer, seeking the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary and praying fervently. Prayer intensified in Rome as the people responded to the Pope's call to pray the Rosary during this grave crisis. Already accustomed to First Sunday Rosary processions, they poured into the streets, rosaries in hand. The Ave Maria echoed through the city in a quiet, meditative rhythm. The prayers were desperate, yet even in their fear, the people continued to glorify God. In the meantime, the Holy League Navy had found the Ottomans in the Gulf of Patras in western Greece, and I have no idea if I just said that correctly. The Ottomans outnumbered the Holy League in people and ships, while the Holy League outnumbered the Ottomans in weapons and ammunition. As dawn broke and the navies approached each other, the weather and the wind in the Gulf gave the Ottomans a clear advantage. But suddenly, the winds shifted. The Holy League unexpectedly had the weather advantage. By the end of the battle, it was clear who the victor was. The casualties were 1-4 to the Holy League's advantage. Almost every Ottoman ship, around 200, had been destroyed or captured, while only 13 of the Holy Leagues had been destroyed. And on top of all of this, 15,000 Christian slaves were freed. The Battle of Lepanto, as it came to be known, was a clear, decisive, and yes, miraculous victory for the Holy League. Meanwhile, back in Rome, the Pope was going about his business, meeting with either cardinals or maybe his treasurer. It's not clear. He suddenly stood up, opened a window facing east, gazed out at the sky, and is reported to have said, "Enough of business. Let us thank the Lord, for our army at this moment has gained victory over the Turks." I would have looked around for the messenger in the room that I had clearly missed and been like, what? How do you know that? My husband calls it spiritual Twitter. Anyway, official confirmation would not arrive until several days later. Now known as Saint Pius V, this Dominican Pope knew that God had worked through Mary and the Rosary. He declared October 7th as the Feast of Our Lady of Victory to commemorate the Battle of Lepanto that had very likely saved them all. We still celebrate this feast, but it is now known as the Feast Day of Our Lady of the Rosary. Lepanto wasn't just a naval victory. It was a reminder, or even maybe a warning, that the greatest battles facing the church are never fought only with steel and strategy, but with prayer and faith. That when the worldly looks unstoppable, when the odds are impossible, God still chooses to work through the humble, the faithful, and yes, through Mary and the saints. Throughout all of history, God has worked miracles through objects, through matter. The staff raised by Moses to ensure victory in battle. The tassels of Jesus' cloak as the hemorrhaging woman reached out for them. The shadow of Peter that landed on the sick and healed them. They're all examples of God working through his creation. The Rosary holds no power on its own. What it does is it leads us in faith, in prayer, and in love straight to God. At the Battle of Lepanto, God gifted a miracle. Through the Rosary, through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and through unified prayer of countless faithful, God chose to make his action unmistakably clear. Had the people not prayed, and had God granted the victory anyway, it still would have been astonishing. But by inviting his people to participate, by placing the Rosary in their hands, the miracle became visible, personable, and undeniable. And with that clarity, the people didn't glorify the Rosary, they glorified God. So, pick up your Rosary and glorify God. And if you don't know where to start, guess what? You can pray along with me by clicking on one of these videos. Our Lady of Victory and of the Rosary, pray for us.